Remember, you're always allowed to think whatever you want. This is all information and all based on my research. Breakfast is known as the most important meal of the day. Nutrition experts in public schools also say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, when you dig deeper, as we do here, we begin to learn the incredible health benefits of fasting, how your body does not need to be digesting food all day long. Why would they want to break your fast so bad and put it right in your face? And you don't even see it until possibly now and call it the most important meal of the day. Breakfast. Break fast. How can this kind of stuff be right in our faces? And what else is in our everyday life? Just hanging right in front of our face that we don't see. And also, everyone understands that fire can't burn stone, right? This is why people put stone around campfires. And stone buildings never burn to the ground. Since this is episode 40, I had to do something cool. So we will definitely get to that later on in this episode. Welcome to episode 40 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. The app is awesome. It shows a lot of videos that are really hard to find. They've got them all in great playlists. He also has my lunch break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you for that. Thank you to Rebecca K, Don Gaston, Jason Brunson, Maddie Kevs, Christopher Arietta, Millicent, The Lady Lacey Show, Edwin Johnson, Home Guard Goes Hard, and Nazir Premier. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. The Tennessee state capitol was constructed in 1859, so they say, and looked really lonely on the hill. Like it's been sitting there a lot longer than we're told. And in 1859, they had cars? No. So why are they trying to tell us that this is the construction photo? Was that from The Horse and the Wagon? How ridiculous does that sound? And who built this place? Which construction company was trained? And how many men in 1859? Wait, what is this? Convicts and slave laborers were used in the project. Are you kidding me? I need to build a stone capitol that is built in the Greek revival style, and it must last forever. Who should I hire? Your average slave or convict. Should be perfect for the job, of course, with zero formal training. And who cares what their work ethic is? They will also receive $0 in return for their work, which means they will fully focus down to the perfect detail. What is going on here? This is what we are actually told. I'm turning it into a joke, but it's actually written here. It cost nearly $30 million, so they trusted these convicts with a $30 million project. Yeah, right. And let's all not forget that the prisoners could put interior columns built from a single piece of stone together in 1859 very easily. Of course they can. And it is built on this hill. From what I've seen in the past, things that are built on a hill like this are usually hiding something underground. How much bigger is this building than what we can see? So Strickland was the architect. And here is a fake picture of him, of course. He looks like the brother of the guy from Austin Powers. Well, Strickland ends up dying before the project is over, of course, as we've seen so many times before in these narratives. But they don't bring in another master architect from a faraway land, like we're always told. No, they just bring in his son, who can easily slide right in and finish up the $30 million project very easily. This kind of architect musical chairs only worked in the 1800s, of course. During no other time period ever in the history of time would a child be able to come in and complete a massive state capitol building project if we are using common sense. But the 1800s were filled with people that understood construction without any professional education. It was just embedded in their DNA. But once 1900 hit, this was no longer the case and children actually had to learn. What a joke. I cannot believe they are saying that this kid hops in and gets the job done. It's insane. It's crazy. So they have a son and some slaves and prisoners working on this place. $30 million bucks, and of course it'll be completed with perfection. And thank you for telling us 2 other buildings that are from the old world. I appreciate it. Staying in Tennessee for today, we have the Hermitage, located in Nashville, Tennessee. This one was constructed in 1835. And what is going on here? We have a house built on the side of these columns. This is so weird. I can't wait to hear what they say about this place. Okay, so this is where Andrew Jackson, the $20 bill guy, this is where he lived. So he gets this old world building, of course, in the early 1800s. This honestly just looks so weird to me, just looking at it. Like they found columns sticking out of the ground and had to disguise it with a random house. Am I the only one seeing this? This is crazy. And let's keep reading, and there it is. We got it. In 1834, a chimney fire seriously damaged the house. So we get the nod that this is from the old world. It is fun when you know the symbolism. It makes reading these stories way more entertaining. Let's continue. So here we are in the backyard of this place. And this is kind of what I was taught about the 1800s, that people were living in log cabin houses like this, freezing in winters and suffering with horses and wagons. I was definitely not taught that slaves and prisoners and children of architects with horses and wagons and no power tools, literally zero experience or training all over the world, could have easily just built massive cathedral-like buildings, star forts and the rest, for everyone to have in like 8 months or less. This would have made things much better and easier for everyone. Life in the 1800s actually wouldn't have been that bad. But nobody is doing this today. And there is not one excuse in the book that would explain this. No, it is not because of coding. If the coding conduct allowed for prisoners to work on buildings today, they would not be able to recreate the Cologne Cathedral or the St. Mark's Basilica in 4 years, which only took 4 years supposedly in the year 828 to 832, 1,191 years ago, before anyone knew how to make paper. So these narratives are colliding. This is where we come in, with a much more logical explanation that there was a previous civilization that actually had construction training, that actually had tools, that actually had the experience, and understood all of this all over the world. And now they are gone and have left their buildings behind for us to see. Now, as I promised earlier, here we are at 220 Washington Avenue in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. For anyone that is new, we have the Tartarian flag, which contains a griffin. So what is going on here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, on a life insurance building? Why do we have 4 columns? And why are there 10 griffin symbols covering the front of this building? And why has nobody ever questioned this? This is unbelievable. Not only are there griffins staring at us right in our faces, but we even have the color yellow, the exact color that is on their flag. This is not a coincidence. This is the old world, right in our faces. The Wisconsin National Life Insurance Company was created in 1908 as the first legal reserve stock life insurance company in Wisconsin. So of course this insurance company would get the rights to an old world building. I'm going to say this is all my opinion, but how much clearer could it get? We are here physically looking at this, and having it all match up is incredible. Oh, and if there is any questions, whether these are griffins or not, and if you may think I'm possibly making this up, let's make sure this is extremely clear. Here we are, on the Wisconsin Historical Society website. Let's scroll down into the notes section on this building. And in their own words, they tell us that these are, in fact, griffins. All for a life insurance building, of course. This is powerful stuff, proving that Grand Tartaria was most likely worldwide. It's incredible. Oh, and we are told that Aller and Jensen were the architects of this incredible building with insane detail. The only problem with that is that this group was not master architects, only designing 2 other average projects in their entire lifetime of existence. Using common sense, anyone designing a building like this life insurance building would have been doing this kind of work at least 3 more times in their life. I really hope you all enjoyed this boots on the ground work. If you did, please give this video a like. Oh, wait, and do we all see what is right next door to this building? And why do they have windows underground? Exactly how we have shown in previous episodes, such as Ancient Champagne, episode 36. This is no coincidence. This is incredible. We all know who found these buildings. It's right on the front of their building. Unbelievable. This whole town was from a past civilization, in my opinion. Each building was worthy of its own episode. I walked around Oshkosh for about an hour, just in shock of what I was seeing. It's incredible the people that live in these towns are unaware of what structures are sitting right in front of them. These people were looking at me and my crew videoing these buildings, and they're so confused what I'm looking at. It is strange knowing this information sometimes, like you're living in a different world than everyone else. This whole town had clear signs of being filled up with dirt. These buildings are much bigger than we can see, with windows underground on most of these buildings, proving this. And then this library that goes about 20 feet below our new ground level. How religious could a small town like this have been 200 years ago? That they need 5 to 10 churches right next to each other. That isn't logical thinking. These buildings were not all used for religious purposes, and we have explained this in previous episodes. These churches were most likely generating natural free energy for the community. Would you be shocked if they still do? But we just don't understand how to turn them back on? The detail on this life insurance building is incredible. Everywhere from the symbolic owls, the detail in the stonework, and of course the griffins. I actually can't believe that they allowed this building to stay here in our site. If I was in charge of the reset, I think the building with the griffins around the entire top of the building would have been the first one to go. But I'm very glad that they left it here for us to see. I just stood there looking at this place for a while. It was really cool to see it. I felt like I was back in the old world. I tried to get in, but it was locked, of course. I took a video through the glass door, and you can see that it goes deeper into the ground. If any of you are ever in the area to see Oshkosh, Wisconsin, I definitely suggest spending some time there and checking it out and seeing all of these buildings from the old world. Griffins on the top of a building, just incredible. And then you have the building right next door, which we all know about. Once you know the truth, you know. You don't go back to not knowing. This was a lot of fun, and I have another trip planned very soon. I have an experiment that involves a flamethrower that I really want to do for you guys. Maybe we can come up with a challenge for a future episode and get that going. It would take about 100,000 likes on a video to fund it, but it would be worth it, and it would prove something incredible and destroy a major mainstream narrative. Also, I was looking at petrification and stones that resemble animals and land that resembles people and on and on. And then I was looking at a massive piece of land, such as the Americas, and thinking, are nations and borders created to serve as an optical illusion to our eyes? When we look at a map, is what we call land something that was actually at one point living and not just dirt and much bigger than we could ever imagine? Now, before we end this episode, I have something that logically makes sense, but is my opinion and in no way been proven. But we're allowed to speculate. The sun is the natural power of healing. It is the thing that creates all life. It grows things. If this place that we live has a yin and a yang, if it has a power so great that it can create life, does it also have a power so strong that it can do the opposite? The sun produces heat. The moon is proven to produce a cooler temperature while in its light, rather than being in the shade away from the moonlight. My point is, do we really want to be in the moonlight? Is it possible it's a negative energy source while the sun is a positive one? I was always told that nothing good happens after midnight. I wonder if this is the reason. Oh, and one more thing. Episode 41 is going to be the longest episode yet, as a thank you for all of the support you guys have given.
Don't trust what you see. Don't listen to yourself.